A very good morning to all my dear students. We'll continue the lesson in the Kingdom of Fools by A.K. Ramanujan here. Here, in the previous tutorial, we left in this part uh, where the thief's brother was taking advantage of King Foolishness. He said to the king that the merchant whose wall has fallen down on his brother was the culprit. He should have made a strong wall. So he requested the king to punish the merchant and get compensation for his family. The king was so foolish that he did not consider the fact that the dead man was committing theft. He was a thief. He burgled into the house of the merchant. But what he was focusing on, he focused more on what a thief's brother has said to him. He only thought that the man died because the wall fell on him, and the owner of the house, whose wall fell on him, had to be punished. So he told his ministers that merchant has to be called right now. The king said, "Justice will be done. Don't worry at once," summoned the owner of the house. Summoned means to order a person to come to a place. Next page. When the merchant arrived, the king questioned him, "What's your name?" "Such and such, your highness." "Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house?" Burgle means to enter a building illegally and stealing things. "Yes, my lord. He broke in and the wall was weak. It fell on him." The accused pleads guilty. "Your wall killed this man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you." So, when the merchant arrived, as soon as the merchant appeared in the scene, the king first asked his name. He replied instantly to the king that his name is such and such. The name is not mentioned here, so they have written such and such. Okay. He further started interrogating and asked questioning to the merchant. He said, "Were you at home when the dead man entered your house?" The merchant replied, "Yes, he was at home only. And when he was trying to go out, the wall fell on him because the wall was weak." Then the king told the merchant that he was guilty. He had murdered a man. He did wrong. Due to his weak wall, the thief died, and now he would be punished. He told the merchant that you will be punished because it's because of your wall the thief died. Then the helpless merchant said, "Lord, I didn't put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him." The king said, "Who is that?" The merchant replied, "My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He's an old man now. He lives nearby." Now, the merchant played it in front of the king. He requested the king that it's not his fault at all. The wall was weak because the person who had made the wall did not construct it properly. The person who constructed the wall is a bricklayer, and it's his mistake, and you should punish him. Further, he also added that this wall was made during the time of his father. He was not there that time. And now the person who built this wall was very old, and he knew him as he lived nearby, and you should punish him, he told the king. The king told his messengers to bring the bricklayer who had built the wall, and that person needs to be punished because he made the weak wall. That wall fell on the thief and the thief died. So the king sent out messengers to bring the bricklayer who had built the wall. They brought him, tied hand and foot. You there? Did you build this man's wall in his father's time? He replied, Yes, my lord, I did. What kind of a wall is this that you built? It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. You have murdered him. We have to punish you by death. Before the king could order the execution, the poor bricklayer pleaded, Please listen to me before you give your orders. It's true, I built this wall and it was no good, but that was because my mind was not on it. I remember a very well dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklets jingling, and I couldn't keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. So the king asked the man who built the wall that what type of wall that you have built, and have you built this wall during this merchant's father's time? The king asked him that did he build the wall, and he replied, Yes, he did. He told bricklayer that you would be punished for this sin that you have committed because you have built the weak wall and it fell on the thief and thief is dead. So here, what reply the bricklayer gave? As soon as when the king was about to pass an order to execute the bricklayer, execution means kill someone, he requested the king to listen to him first. He totally agreed that yes, he did not make the wall properly, but it was not because he wanted to make a weak wall, but his mind got diverted that time. His mind was not on his work. Why? Because a girl who was roaming around in the street with her anklets, and those anklets were making a lot of sound, a jingling sound, and due to her anklets jingle sound, he was not able to concentrate on his work and so built a weak wall. It was not his mistake. It was the fault of the dancing girl. He added that he knew where this dancing girl lived and she should be punished instead of him because she wore jingling anklets and the anklets made the sound, disturbed the bricklayer where he was not able to concentrate on his work of building a wall, and the wall became weak. The weak wall fell on the thief and the thief died. So here you can easily notice that everyone is passing on the blame to another person in order to save their life. Now, what the king thought? The king thought a bit and said, "You are right. The case deepens. We must look into it. It is not easy to judge such complicated cases. Let's get that dancer wherever she is." The dancing girl, now an old woman, came trembling to the court. Now the king was satisfied with the bricklayer's explanation. He was kind of convinced with him. He tells everyone that the case has deepened now and it's very complicated and will not solve very easily. This case needs to be solved properly. So he ordered his messenger to get the dancing girl as soon as possible. The dancing girl now had become very old, and then she came trembling to the court. The king asked, "Did you walk up and down that street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall? Did you see him?" "Yes, my lord, I remember it very well." "So, you did walk up and down with your anklets jingling?" "You were young and you distracted him, so he built a bad wall." Now, the king asked her that many years ago, was she dancing and roaming around in the street, in the lane, while the bricklayer was constructing the wall, and her movement distracted him? She confirmed me, yes, she was roaming around with her anklets jingling. She agrees with it. "It has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You have killed an innocent man. You will have to be punished." So the king said that because of your jingling sound, mind of the bricklayer got distracted. He made a weak wall, and the weak wall fell on the thief and he died. And she should be punished for this sin. She thought for a minute and said, "My lord, wait. I know now why I was walking up and down that street." So she gives her explanation that it's not her mistake. It's the mistake of a goldsmith. Who is a goldsmith? Who makes gold ornaments. She had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelry for her. He was a lazy scoundrel. Scoundrel means kind of dishonest. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times, and that was when this bricklayer saw me. It's not my fault, my lord. It's the damn goldsmith's fault. Now, the dancing girl explained herself and she transferred the blame onto another person. And who was that person? The person was a goldsmith. She said that it is not her mistake. She was roaming around in this lane again and again because she had to visit goldsmith's shop. She had given some gold to him to make jewelry out of it, but he was totally a lazy scoundrel. He was a dishonest person. He was making excuses for not making her ornaments on time. He kept on asking her to come after some time, and she kept on going every now and then to the shop asking for her ready ornaments, and every time he would say to give him some more time. And due to this, she had to go to his house at least a dozen times. So the dancing girl said that it was fault of the goldsmith. And she further said that time the bricklayer saw me, got distracted. So it is not my fault. It is the fault of the goldsmith, because of whom she was roaming in the lane again and again. Now, the case became more complicated. Why? Because the dancing girl transferred the blame to the goldsmith. The king said, "Poor thing, she's absolutely right," thought the king. "Weighing the evidence, we have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith wherever he is hiding at once." So the king thought, yes, the dancing girl is saying right. It's not her mistake. The mistake is of goldsmith. They have found the real culprit and he needs to be called. So he ordered that goldsmith should be called in his court right now. The king's bailiffs, who are bailiffs? Bailiffs, officers, their job is to take the possessions and property of people who cannot pay their debts. So, the king's bailiffs searched for the goldsmith who was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. Now, the king's bailiff started searching for the goldsmith, and where was he? He was hiding in the corner of his shop because he had heard that he has been accused of murdering the thief. But he had his own story to tell. He had his own explanation. Let's see. "My lord," he said, "I'm a poor goldsmith. It's true, I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I couldn't finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's orders. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are." He said that the dancing girl was right. He made many excuses and made her visit in his shop again and again. But it was not his fault. Then whose fault it was? He said that he also had an order from a rich merchant and they had a wedding at their home, at their place, and were in a hurry to get their order, and that is why the dancing girl's work was getting delayed. So this is the explanation given by the goldsmith. What he said, that he was already having an order of the rich merchant. They had the wedding at their place and they want their order to get finished as soon as possible. So he had to delay the order of the dancing girl, and it's not his mistake. It's because of the rich merchant that he had to delay the order of dancing girl. So he said that it's not his mistake, it's the fault of the rich merchant. Then the king asked the goldsmith to name the rich merchant. The goldsmith named the merchant. And who was he? He was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. So, this has become a circle here, that from the point where the king had started, he came back to the same person whom the thief's brother had blamed, and he was the rich merchant. Now justice had come full circle, thought the king, back to the merchant. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying, "It wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He's dead. I'm innocent." So the rich merchant cried and pleaded in front of the king. He said that it's not his mistake. This order is during the time of his father, and his father is dead. He is innocent. He says that he's innocent. It's not his mistake. It's the mistake of his father who had ordered the jewelry. And his father is dead. But the king consulted his minister and ruled decisively. It's true, your father is the true murderer. He is dead. But somebody must be punished in his place. You have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die. Now, when the merchant was called, he was crying. He knew that the king was foolish and he would give him death sentence. He said that it was not he who had ordered the jewelry but his father. The king consulted his minister and gave the decision that the merchant's father was the murderer. The thief died because of the rich merchant. He further says that as the merchant's father was not alive and someone had to be punished for the crime, so he said that the merchant's son, who had inherited everything from his father, would have to take the punishment for his wrongdoing as well. So this is one of the foolish act that can be seen here by the king. He says that someone has to be punished, be it the son of the rich merchant. He says that you have inherited everything from your father, his property, then why not his wrongdoing as well? He added that when he had seen the merchant for the very first time, that moment only he had a feeling that he was the culprit. The king announced that now the merchant would have to die. So, finally, the king had found the culprit. The king had found a person to be hanged. The king finally ordered his bailiffs to prepare a stake. He ordered his servants to prepare a stake for the final execution, for the final killing of the culprit. As the servants sharpened the stake, what is a stake? A post with a sharp pointed end used to pierce through something, and got it ready for final impaling of the criminal. Impaling means to push a sharp pointed object through something. It occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too worried about it. Now, when the king's servants was finally preparing the stake and was getting the stake ready for the final impaling of the criminal, for the final execution of the criminal, it was found by the minister that the rich merchant is too thin to be properly hanged on the stake. Now, when the king found it, he was also worried. Now, the king thought, "What shall we do?" he said, when suddenly it struck him that they needed to do was to find a fat man enough to fit the stake. Now, the king has already made up his mind that someone has to be hanged. Justice should be prevailed. So, he ordered his servants to find a person who is fat enough to perfectly fit the stake. The servants immediately went all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake. We are going to do till here in this tutorial. I have already break this chapter into 3 parts. It's quite a long chapter, and I basically want you people to go through the lesson deeply, understand it properly, underline the important points, the words, the writing style of the writer, the story, and start imagining in your mind about the scene, about the story. Think about the court, think about the king, ministers, and all the people, all the characters there in the lesson. The assignment is there in your homework portal. Just do it very properly, and all the answers should be of your own. Thank you.